Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode on the Hermitcraft server. The music is here to stay. What can I say? Hey, wait a minute, I was holding block then. Oh, look at that. So when you right click facing a cauldron, it makes an attacking motion instead of a blocking one. Huh. Oh, I found a bug. There you go. I'll have to report that later to the bug tracker. But what was I saying? Yes, the intro music. It is here to stay. It won by a landslide. There were tons and tons of comments asking for the music to stay, and there was loads of those comments that were thumbed up as well, and I don't think I saw one comment that said they didn't like the music. So it's definitely here to stay, and it's by my friend who goes by the name of Crow, so there'll be a link in the description box to his channel. Go check out his music. He does Lord Leviticus and Jotun, and Jotun is the music that we use in the introduction. But anyway, let's talk about Minecraft and the Hermitcraft server. What is that over there? That is Corrales' building. He is here, he is on the server, and we are about to encounter a horde of zombies as soon as I start killing this guy, because of the whole social zombies thing. I need some food. Okay, and I haven't got my steak yet. Let's just eat and look around and see if any others have spawned. I can't see any. Yeah, so Corrales is on the server. And I saw him building this little house and I was amazed by it, this little one over here. Then I came on the next day and he built a mage tower, and now he's building this around the side. He's really going all out, and this house is lovely. We're actually going to have a little nosy around at that later on, but we've got some other things to talk about first of all. So let's just have a quick look at the outside here. That looks absolutely lovely, doesn't it? And I think it really fits into the village that we have here. At what we call spawn, when it technically isn't, so we need to get used to calling it village or town, or we need a name for it basically, and none of the names really sound that right. But anyway, let's go and have a look at the cow farm, because that's what we were working on last episode. I was hoping to have it 100% finished and working by this episode. However, I've been going on and breeding animals lots, but it doesn't seem to get the numbers up fast enough. So, and if you can hear that rumbling noise, I've got to turn down my speakers. That is the cows. They make a lot of noise because there are a lot of them in here. But breeding them, I didn't get the numbers up as quickly as I expected to. And I think I just want a few more in this row at the back here, so let's use up the last of this wheat. And yeah, and then I think it will be done. So we're going to be removing these cobblestone blocks, and I think there's one or two other things I need to change, I can't remember what. But this glass was recommended in the comments. Now, I've been kind of out of touch with survival lately, and when I saw this comment it made me realise how out of touch I am. I've fallen in these little holding cells for the cows quite a few times, and I get annoyed when I fall in, so I break a block, jump back out and replace it. And at no point did I think, okay, that's happening, how can I prevent that happening? And that's how you need to think with survival. When something happens that you don't like, or you think that could be better, you've got to stop and think, well, how can I make it better? And then if I had actually done that, I probably would have thought to put some blocks like this. But anyway, a commenter left this suggestion to put glass or iron here, and since I've added it, I've got to say, it makes the room look a little bit smaller, and all the cows are following the wheat as well. Let's just take that off so they make a little less noise. But with glass, it kind of makes the room feel smaller. Don't know if you guys get that vibe as well. We could also try this with iron bars, which is something that I want to do as well. So depending on how it looks, I will either use the glass, the iron bars, or I may actually just remove it and say, if you fall in, tough luck, because it looks best without, I think. But yeah, so we can't really test how the mob-evator works just yet. However, I've had some ideas on how to improve it and fix it, so I'm going to be trying that stuff out in this episode. I put a little bit of glowstone down the bottom as well, so let's go and have a look at this. So we can dig down like that. So this is nicely lit up, and I think if I'd have thought about this more, I would have actually made these half slab blocks glass so you could see down and see the nice water, and then we could have put some nice materials around the outside here to kind of add to the visual effect when you're looking. Although most of it probably is going to be blocked off by the cows, because there's a lot of them now. But we'll soon find out about all of that, so that's something that I'm going to do. There are a couple more things that I want to talk about before I start working, and I don't know what it is I'm going to do this episode. We are going to go have a nosy around the inside of Corrales' place. I think there is a spider. Oh, he's not following me, he's just being weird. Oh yeah, I also brought this, I also built this little path over here that curves around the side. Really basic, but I think it's got a nice curve to it. And it's good to be building organic. I'm the kind of... Organic? Did I say organic or organic? I hope I said organic, because I'm the kind of guy that normally builds things symmetrical and even, like the tower over there. You know, I couldn't really build something like this, and so it was cool to do a little path that was curved and, yeah, of that nature. So what I want to do this episode, as I said, have a nosy around Krallis's buildings. I want to put in some farms. I want to build a sugarcane farm now, because we're going to have lots of leather, and so we can make bookshelves. But I also think that what this place needs is some wheat farms, and not ones that are, you know, inside a building or they're set up with pistons to be harvested, but just ones that are made to look like, you know, like farmers' fields. So I was thinking over in this area, there is a nice flat bit of land over here where we could set up a sugarcane farm, and I think that'll be a nice view for Joe Hills and King Happy and Monkey Farm, because they'll be able to look down at this luminous green sugarcane field, because we're going to put lights in it and stuff like that. So this area here you can see is fairly flat, so what I'll probably do is a little bit of digging and make a nice area over here to build a sugarcane farm, and then depending on how much land is around it, I'll try and consider that some people might want to come along and build a building. There will also be other buildings like a nether portal building, an enchanting building, all those kinds of things that need to go in the spawn village. We've also got a purple sheep. Hello, he's deliberately looking away from me. Yeah, so I'm just going to consider what other buildings need to go around here, and then in between all of that we can have loads of wheat everywhere, which I think would look really nice. And if you happen to need wheat, you can go over there, harvest it and replant it as well, because at the moment what we've been using is just Assassin's little farms over there that have been set up. So as well as wheat, we could also put down carrots and potatoes as well. And so another thing that I want to address is these half slabs here. People keep saying to put ice under them. Let's have a look. You'll see that actually they're at this height here. So if we were to put ice under them, when they're on that height like that, we actually get the property of the ice when we're moving over the top, so we can move at a fast speed. But the problem here is that we would have to adjust all of the paths everywhere if we were to put ice underneath them. So that unfortunately isn't going to happen. Maybe we might do that if we really want it, but I'm not going to be doing that right now. So I've been in the nether again collecting more quartz, and I've got to say I think what I like most at the moment about survival Minecraft is gathering materials. I really just enjoy chilling out, listening to some music and going into the nether and like collecting quartz. And I had a little funny adventure when I was in there, and I think I've got to record my off-camera stuff more, because I saw a ghast, it was shooting at me and I dodged it and it hit a zombie pigman. And so the zombie pigman started chasing after the ghast, and the ghast actually flew down to the netherrack, and the zombie pigman very nearly killed him, and it was a very funny sight. So I need to do more off-camera recording, but where is my quartz? It is down here, so you can see, I think someone's taken some of that. But yeah, I've got a lot more now, I've got lots of blocks up here, and I've been using that to level up and do more enchanting, so I'm doing good with my picks and things like that as well. Okay, so I've added iron bars, and the colour of them kind of suits what's around it more. You've got the greys on the wall and down here with the slabs, and so this has a kind of high contrast thing going on. So I think the iron bars is going to look better than the glass, but I'll change that over later on. And then down below here you can see that the cobblestone has been removed, so this thing is ready to use. We can see the water down there, however the cows do kind of block the view off of that, and I don't think it really adds too much seeing that there's water down there, but there you go. And unfortunately the mob evator isn't working as well. I tried to fix it with a quick fix by changing a couple of water flows, but they're not going up there, so I think what I'm going to have to do is go into a test world and figure that thing out. But what we're going to do now is go over to where we're going to be building the sugarcane farm, which is just over there where I pointed out before. I've got some materials together, and I've been looking at the area of land and modifying it a bit, and I think it might be quite tricky to make the right shape out of this, and I'm not really going to be able to describe how until you see the pattern that I make this with. But for those of you that know the most efficient way to lay out sugarcane, then you'll possibly know what I'm talking about. But you can see here I've got all of the materials together, so it should be a nice and easy build. We're going to smelt this cobblestone and put stone bricks around the outside, just like I did on Avalon. And I've also brought over some sand to plant the sugarcane on as well, instead of planting it on dirt, so it has a little more colour to it. So it is going to go over in this region. I've flattened out the land here, and the problem with the shape is it kind of has this awkward shape like this. You can't just have a square box or a circle, you have to go at this strange angle. Now this works fine from this corner working outwards, they're both going to move 2 blocks like this, but then when it comes to the other side of the box, because it's going to be like a box shape, it's going to move at a strange angle, so I won't really be able to show you that until I start building this. Okay, so take a look at the shape of this. It looks really awkward because of this side over here, and now that I've come up here I've realised that perhaps it would be a good idea to keep the same shape on all sides, which would mean it would extend out over the river, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. So anyway, the way this works is where you see every piece of cobblestone, that's where there's going to be water, and then sugarcane can be placed on each adjacent side. So by laying them out with this pattern here, if you have a look between each of the cobblestone blocks, there are always this group of 4, like that. So all of these blocks around where the cobblestone are going to be able to have sugarcane planted on them, and because of this it means that we're not going to deal with a square shape, we're going to have this at an angle like this, so it goes across 2 blocks. Now that is fine on this side and this side over here as well, and this one as well. It's a little bit off over here just where I've laid it out to see what it would look like, but then when we go over to this side here, because I've tried to make it go at the same shape as the island across here, and I've fallen down now, then things get a little bit funky. So you can see here, to modify it for that I have to go, if you look at it as groups of 3, we go 1, 2, 3, then we go back, we go 1, 2, 3, go back, 1, 2, 3, like that, and so that's the pattern that goes all the way across, and it doesn't look particularly nice. However, I did think that if we were to put blocks like this going along, then we would kind of remove that look that we have there and smooth it out a little bit more. Yeah, so anyway, I'm now thinking I might change my mind, but what I want to do next is go up top and have a look what this thing could look like from different places. Okay, there you go, you can see what it looks like from up here, and although it fits in, I really don't like how this gets cut off on the side. What this should do is go all the way across. If you follow the crosshairs, it should come out to about there and then go across, and I don't think it's going to look that great going out into the river. So I've been thinking about how we can position this. Should we move it over this way more? We could possibly do a bit of terraforming and just make that river there go closer to the hills on this side. But then I think what might be the best thing to do is to swap this around. So you see how this is going across in that direction? We would do it so that they would go in the other way and it would slope down. So then we would probably go from that bit there over to around here, then it would go up at the similar gradient to that in that direction, and then the same across from that side to somewhere around there, and I think that's the way it's going to fit in best. So I'm going to rebuild this, keep coming up here and get it so it fits in like and looks nice on that part of the island, because at the moment it looks kind of awkward. It does fit in, but it does look forced. And yeah, when I came up here I also spotted this. Now this is one of the projects that I wanted to do, was to make a sheep farm. I have an idea for what could be a really cool sheep farm as well, something really compact that will allow you to have lots of sheep. But this is also a really good and fun way of looking after sheep, you know, just putting loads of them in there and then running in there and shearing them. It pretty much does the same thing. But whenever I get around to doing my sheep farm, I'm going to do something compact and a lot different from this, using redstone and things like that. But yeah, this is cool. Look how many sheep there are. And a pig! Woohoo! Awesome. The rain. Right as I go to hit record, a moment ago I swear it was fine, and I was about to press record and it started raining. Yeah, check that out. That looks really cool. I do very much like that. However, I think it needs something else around it, and this is where we are going to make the spawn area a little more farmy. So what I'm thinking of doing is putting down lots of wheat all around this area, making sure it's nice and lit up, and I think that's going to look really nice. Now at the same time as that, we need to go down there and tidy up the edges of this stone brick that's around the outside, because at the moment it's just sitting on top of dirt like you can see on the edge there, and yeah, I just want to add some more stone bricks so it looks more like a structure. At the same time I also thought this would look pretty cool if it was like higher up and you had a kind of arched structure underneath it, but too late to do anything like that. Anyway, let's just move around a little bit, see it from the different angles. Let's just hop up here. Which isn't much of a change, but there you go. I think I made it just about the right size. If anything, maybe it could have come over this way 1 or 2 more blocks, because it goes over the water there, but actually that looks pretty cool. And it is, I do believe, either 9 or 10 by 10, so it is an exact square. Okay, so this structure has now been finished. I've added extra stone blocks going around the outside, and underneath them we have stone block stairs. So it has a nice bit of shape now, which I think looks decent. And also I've tidied up the land around here, so you may notice that there is a lot of dirt, and that is because we're getting this ready to have wheat grown on it. So we're going to have lots of wheat around here and give a nice farmland look to this area. So what I've been doing is going around removing this sand. There was also a mound of land over here. It was actually quite high. It was higher than that over there, so all of that has been leveled, and we've got a zombie hiding in a cave over here with a pig. And if we go over in this direction, I've just started tilling the soil in a couple of places, and I thought actually I should record and explain what I'm doing here. So underneath this block there is hidden water, which is actually an ice block, and it's got a jack-o'-lantern underneath it, so that helps melt the ice, or I can just break it with my pick. But that is going to hydrate the soil on this level here. So what we will do for the next level, because if I remember correctly, that will only hydrate dirt blocks or farmland on the same level. We're going to do that back here, so it'll be hidden somewhere underneath those blocks. So one thing to note is that when we till the soil into farmland, that it's slightly lower, so because the water is back there you can't actually see it, but there'll be moments where you can see it. And I've just realised because of that it means the light isn't even going to travel through, so we might actually just remove this block until that. So now you can see the water, but because this block is transparent the light will pass through. Now we might leave that in. This is going to be a bit of an experiment so that it's nice and lit up at night, but if I remember correctly mobs do not spawn on wheat, so it means that we can cover all of this with wheat, and as long as it doesn't get trampled, which it's quite likely could happen, so I might have to kill a couple of these pigs that are roaming around the edge here, then it should all be fine. And now that I think about it, it's not that they can't spawn on wheat, it's that they can't spawn on the farmland because it's a transparent block, and it's also not the same height. If you look here, it's slightly lower, so it should be fine. So it's been quite some time, and you can see here it hasn't all fully grown. I really would have hoped it had grown by now. It's probably going to look a lot better when it's all done, but it is quite dark as well, so the light isn't really coming through. And I think the reason why is possibly because something's either changed with farmland or because it has crops on top of it, but none of those jack-o'-lanterns are actually making a difference now, which is a bit of a shame. Over here you can see it's a bit lighter, and that's because there's actually lily pads there. To hydrate all of that land, because it's larger, I needed to put some water sources in the middle, so I put 2 of them down, and it does look better when it's lighter, so I might do that elsewhere as well. You can see that one there is one of the ones with water behind it, so maybe if we were to remove that and put a lily pad on top, then the light would come through, which would probably make it look a lot better. But I still haven't seen what this looks like at daytime, and I really wanted to show you it when it was all finished. But the next thing that I'm going to do now is finish off this little area here. We're going to go and build a path that connects up to the main one. So there's the bridge that comes from King Happy's, which is that little building up there, which is actually a remake of a jungle temple. I think it's pretty much exact block to block. I had a look around it. He'd also set up the traps as well, and I put some arrows in them. I wondered if he noticed that or not. But yeah, we're going to make this go in front of the sugarcane farm, so it's going to come over this way a little bit, and then it's going to turn off to the side and meet up with this path over here. I might modify this one to meet up as well, and then what we're going to do is bring some of the wheat around the front and build like a little entrance. So there'll be a fence to cordon off this area, a little entrance bit, and then it will go all the way to the side over here. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this bit of land. I'll probably bring the fence around, put in more wheat over here as well, but I don't want to take up too much space because we used a lot already with this. And then the very last thing that I think I'll be doing is putting down some iron bars around the outside, because one thing I thought is when you're going through here chopping down all of this, it's really easy just to walk off the edge. That guy went flying. Yeah, so by having the iron bars it'll stop you walking off the edge. There we go, check that out. It is all pretty much finished now. It looks really good with the exception of this area. It kind of looks odd because it's green, but when that all grows into wheat this is going to look really nice. And what I like about it is it's a nice little isolated corner over here where the river wraps around the edge, And it's like a farm within a farm, you know, got all this wheat going on around the outside, and then you have your sugarcane in the middle. And you can also see I've added the iron bars, they are very useful. And one strange thing I have noticed is I've seen a couple of mobs spawn inside here. Now I say spawn, I didn't actually see them spawn, they were just wandering around in the middle while I was having a look, and one of those was a creeper, which is probably a really bad place to have a creeper because it will be camouflaged because of all the green, and if you're going in there chopping down sugarcane, the last thing you want to do is get creepered. But yeah, that is that bit there done. There is a fence along the side. You can see I've extended the path as well. The fence doesn't look too great, especially here, and I'll tell you what it needs actually. A couple of torches. There we go, you can place it on the side of that hitbox to put it on the top there. But I don't really like this, it's kind of like a placeholder, and if I think of something that might look better I could put that in. But I don't know what exactly that will be. Hopefully I'll have some inspiration later. There's also a little pond here that I decided to leave. Some of this still needs lighting up, I think, as well. There needs a few more torches here and there because where I've been digging and terraforming, the torches get removed. They need to be replaced. So the path goes over here, and then it doesn't quite meet up properly because I haven't finished rebuilding this bit here, which is something I will do later on. But that is really nice, I think. And now what we're going to do is have a nosy around Corralis's house. Okay then, let's have a look around Corralis's place. This looks absolutely awesome. I've already been inside. It's really nice, and I've noticed that there are a couple of trees here. I don't remember them being here before, this one that is, and it looks like it could do with a torch around here. It is a little bit, just a little bit dark. And so I think these are horse stables, he said. If so, they look pretty damn good. Oh, what happened there? I think I derped. I'm not sure what happened there. Let's put down a couple of extra torches as well. Cool, so yeah, this looks really nice. Now, when we go on the inside, this is one thing I noticed with Corralis's builds, is not only do they look good on the outside, like this obviously looks really nice, but the kind of space that you have on the inside, it's really nice and cozy. And it looks good as well, which is quite a thing to do. So this takes us to the Mage Tower, I do believe. If we go down here, we've got basement area. That looks pretty cool. And then over here, another little room. So I think that is the bulk of the main building at the front. If we go up here, there is an attic area, and do you know what, every time I see Corralis's buildings I'm quite inspired to give a go at building this myself, and I accidentally placed a torch then. I'm not really sure I could build in this style. I could definitely try and imitate what he's doing here, but it is an art and I'd like to give it a go, so hopefully if I get some time to do some off-camera stuff I'll give a go at building a house in the style of Corralis. Anyway, let's go down to the bottom. So this takes us just out here. There isn't a basement with a Mage Tower, and I'm interested to see what this looks like on the inside because obviously it looks really cool on the outside. So this is possibly the roof of the horse stable. I'm actually a little disorientated now because I thought we were facing the other way. Is this the attic? It's the attic where I've just been. Okay, that's good to know. So we can skip across there, and if we continue up, there is pretty cool, nice little room up here, and that might be it. Okay, this is cool. See, from the outside you've got all these extra little buildings that kind of go off the main one on either side. I was curious to see if you could actually go into them or not. So it doesn't look like so. It's a lot smaller on the inside than it looks on the outside. This is pretty cool. Okay, so this looks like the last bit right here, and we are now on the roof, and let's have a look around. Let's have a look at what spawn looks like from up here. That looks pretty cool. Don't like how this bit here looks, but when it goes the same colour as the other side it will look really nice. And so yeah, Hermitcraft 2.0 is going really well so far. I really like all of the different buildings that have popped up around the place. Spoon needs to put some lights on the top of his building. Whenever I go past it I usually see creepers and stuff on top of there, but things are looking cool, and actually my little building looks kind of out of place, and do you know what, I wouldn't mind tearing that down at some point and building something else. So maybe what I'll try and do is build something cool like this. See if I can do I don't even know what you call this style. I keep thinking of the word for it. I just refer to it as the Corralis style, but yeah, there's obviously a word for this, but I think that's going to have to go in the future. So yeah, I want to do some building is what I'm saying. yeah, anyway, so I think that wraps things up for this episode. We're now going to be able to get ourselves some bookshelves. We've got leather and we've got sugarcane, and that means we can build an enchanting table. And yeah, we're going to have to move on to something else in the next episode. So as always, thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you next time.